Yeah, g'day, Fight View 360 fans. It's your old mate, Big J, Jason Fletcher. And today we have the distinct privilege and honour of speaking to who should be the two-time WBA super flyweight champion of the world, 115-pounder Aussie fighter Andrew the Monster Maloney. Andrew, g'day, mate. How you going?
Going great, Jason. Thanks for having me, mate.
Yeah, good, mate. You've never actually been on the channel. We spoke to you before through Zoom calls, but it's actually good to have you on the channel, mate. So I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, no, my pleasure, mate. It's good to be on.
Good, mate. So straight up, how's camp been going? I've seen videos that, it's been really, really positive.
Yeah, no, it has. And I know that every fighter probably says that camp's going perfect and things like that. But honestly, like I don't really do training camps. So, I mean, things change as you get sort of 10 to 12 weeks out. But I'm in the gym all year round, and I started preparing for this fight as soon as we landed back in hotel quarantine back in last November. So it's been 9 months where I've been preparing for this fight, and I really feel like over that time I've gone to a whole new level and really improved as a fighter, mainly because I've had that result from that second fight in the back of my mind the whole time, and every day I get to the gym and I've got that in the back of my mind, and I use that as motivation to train extremely hard and make sure I leave no stone unturned to come home with that belt this time around.
That's right. I mean, in that second fight, your performance was absolutely outstanding. From the opening bell, Franco literally didn't know what hit him. He seemed that he couldn't deal with it. And, I mean, as you said, you jabbed his eye at about 50 times. And it turned out to be a worse decision than what happened to Fennec versus Zuma Nelson #1. So it was a bit disappointing what happened, but the positives are the whole world was watching. Even actress Helen Mirren had her 2 cents in, so there'll be a lot of eyes watching this third fight, which will be extremely positive for you.
Yeah, that's right. Obviously, still devastated about what happened in that second fight. Well, the decision that is. I mean, in terms of the fight itself, I felt in total control, and everything we worked on in camp leading up to that fight was going perfectly to plan, and I got full confidence that I can do that again this time around and start off right where we left off last time and dominate this fight from start to finish. And yeah, as you mentioned, another positive is just the amount of people that are going to be watching this time around because of the result last time, and how much uproar there was from all around the world. As you said, Dan Helen Mirren and a lot of famous people sort of tweeted about the fight and the robbery it was, and I'm sure this time around for the third fight we're going to have a lot of people tuning in, and it's my opportunity to put on a great performance and to gain a huge following, and then hopefully they'll continue to follow my career going forward.
Yeah, just speaking on your career, mate, because I have no doubt that you're going to give this Franco kid another good hiding. I mean, I've spoken to him; he's a nice bloke, but he's in for more strife on Sunday afternoon our time. With the fight, how long do you plan to stay at 115? Is this where you're comfortable, or are you plan to bump up as you get a little older?
No, I mean, it probably depends on opportunities ahead, but ideally, I'd like to stay at super flyweight, 115 pounds for the rest of my career. Mm-hmm. And rather than sort of moving through weight divisions and things like that most fighters sort of choose to do, I'd rather try and collect all the belts at that weight. My ultimate goal that I've set for myself is to become undisputed champion at 115 pounds. So that's where I'll see the rest of my career.
Yeah. I mean, following the steps of the great Victor Chinian, who was undisputed superfly.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so yeah, be an honour to do similar to him and collect all the belts at this weight. And he did a lot of that with my trainer, Angelo Hyder. So no reason why we can't do it again.
Yeah, that would absolutely be fantastic. So once you, we always got to say if, but once you get past Franco, who's next on the chopping block?
Yeah, I mean, look, I really don't want to look too far, ahead of Franco and look past him. But I'm very aware that there's some great fights in the super flyweight division. It's a stacked division at the moment. There's guys like Chocolatito, Estrada, who's a unified champion. You've got Rungvisai, who has wins over Chocolatito, and then we've got Ioka, another multiple weight champion, and then Jerwin Carhas has the IBF belt. So and then, amongst that, there's also guys like Carlos Cuadras, who's been champion before and is a big name over here in America, and the list goes on. There's so many fights out there for me to be involved in, and huge fights that would, that I dream about being involved in. Guys like that I mentioned there, they're legends of this lighter weight division, and will go down as Hall of Famers. So it's a dream of mine to share the ring with guys like that, and I'm very aware that I need to win this fight next Sunday to open the door to fights like that, and to a win over Franco next Sunday, the future will be very bright, and I'm sure I'll be involved in some huge fights going forward. So there's a lot on the line, and it's very exciting for me, and hopefully I can move on to those fights we talked about.
Yeah, I mean, Jerwin Carhas has said for a long time that he's had you on the potential wish list, so that would be a massive unification bout, considering that such the huge following that the Filipino fighters have. You bring that out to Australia, that could be another version of Horn Pacquiao. So hopefully with the same result. So.
Yeah, it could be the problem that fight was looking likely at points because he was signed with Top Rank, but unfortunately he's not with Top Rank anymore. He's moved over to PBC, but it still is a possibility that fight could happen in the future, but probably less likely now that PBC fighters tend to just sort of fight within their own stable. But we'll see what happens.
So back to Franco, which is the focus of the week. Without giving too much away, what do you have anything specially planned for him, or are you just going to rush him from the get-go?
Oh, I'm just going to do what I do, might box my style, and I believe it's going to be similar to the second fight. And my plan is just to take off exactly where we left off last time, and continue to dominate him from start to finish. And whether that goes the 12 rounds or I can stop him early. Either way, as long as I make it a convincing win and, leave no doubt that I am the champion this time and there's nothing they can do to take it away from me, then I'll be happy. My main focus is just making sure that I come home with that belt around my waist and, everything that I've, been through and all the sacrifice I've made over the last, 18 years I've been boxing now, and I've given my life to this sport. So I'll make sure that that's all worth it and I come home with that belt.
Absolutely. So, as normally with you Maloney twins, Jason's on the undercard. Jason is on the card with you. He's fighting Joshua Greer. Jason should get past him without too many dramas, because initially you guys were supposed to fight in Oklahoma on Anzac Day last year. Was that correct, or was that just Jason?
Yeah, that's right. No, that's right. You got that right. So Jason and Greer have been sort of matched to fight each other, way back April last year. That event got cancelled when COVID sort of first hit. And then we came back over to America thinking that Jason was going to fight Greer again in June that year. And they Top Rank sort of decided that they'd go separate directions. And then Jason got the Inui fight. Here we are now. They're finally, colliding again. What should have happened a long time ago, and Jason's been excited about the Greer fight for a long time, and as a team we really believe that he's going to really put on a great performance in this fight, and I think he's going to knock Joshua Greer out.
Yeah, I really think he will. I think he'll. I don't think Greer's going to give him too many, because I think since the fight he had the upset and he's had a draw, so I don't think this will be a good Jason getting his getting the ring right, getting his groove back in, for lack of a better term. I couldn't think of something there. So, but I think
that's right. Yeah, and it's also a good fight for Jason because Greer's still rated as high as number 4 in the world. In the sanctioning body. So this win over Greer will put him right back into position to hopefully fight for a world title again very soon. So I think it's a great fight for Jason, and stylistically, I think he's got far too much for Greer.
Yeah, I agree. I think that he'll be back in the world title contention very soon, very, very soon. So more back on home things. I suppose we have to have a bit of a chat about poor old George Kambosos and his title aspirations against Teofimo. Have you been keeping track of that? Because that is just, unfortunately, it's just been a comedy of errors. So,
yeah, I have been trying to keep up to date with what's going on there, but sort of hearing different things every week or so, and I just hope that he finally gets the opportunity to have that fight, and hopefully he still gets that payday that he was supposed to get through the purse bid from Triller. So it'd be a huge shame if that fight falls through, and George obviously spent a lot of time in America away from his family, and sacrificed a lot for that fight, for it to fall through, and you know, for it to never happen, then that'd be a huge disappointment for him. So I really hope it happens. It's obviously a tough fight. Teofimo is a great fighter, but you know, with risk comes reward, and if Georgie is able to get that job done and become undisputed champion, then that's just absolutely massive for himself and massive for Australian boxing. So hopefully that fight goes ahead.
yeah, absolutely, because we really want to see George get in there, defeat Teofimo and bring all the belts back to Australia, because that's been going on for months and months now. I think February they initially sorted out what was going on, and it's now, August, so that's 6 months, but hopefully George can get there and bring it back. So on more local things, have you been keeping track of what's going on with young Tim Tszyu?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm a massive boxing fan in general. I'm always watching all the fights, and especially the Aussie guys. So, yeah, been keeping track of Tim, and No Limit are doing an amazing job with him, and they always put on a great promotion, and, yeah, definitely been following Tim's career.
Yeah, actually, I like what No Limit are doing. Their shows are just fantastic each and every time. And they're looking to put on a sort of like a magic round in November, which I think is going to be hugely positive for Australian boxing in general. And hopefully they can get every person that they can lay their hands on onto a huge, massive card. Has anything like that been drawn to your attention?
Yeah, I've heard about what they're doing. November, I believe. Yeah, 3 days. They're doing the Friday night, Saturday night, and then the Sunday, where I believe Tim will fight and will be broadcast live, obviously over to the American audience. So that's huge for boxing in Australia, and I'm sure there'll be 3 huge cards with, you know, stacked talent as they always put on. And yeah, I'm aware of what they're doing, and it actually interests me, to be honest, because I really want to get another fight in before the year's out, and would love the opportunity to fight back in Australia. So yeah, I'm not too sure if it's possible or anything like that. We obviously got to have talks with No Limit and talks with Top Rank and talks with my team, but it's definitely something that would interest me. So after this fight's out of the way, we might have a chat about that.
Yeah, definitely, because it'd be good to see the Maloneys on a No Limit / Top Rank / main event card back home. To build, because you guys haven't been on main event since you fought Elton DeHarry in November of 2019 on the Paul Gallen Barry Hall undercard. That was a bit weird, that fight, because you're actually the main event, but Paul and Barry were billed as the main event, but you went on last. What? Can you explain what happened there? I couldn't figure that one out.
Oh, well, that's just sort of, you know, I was fortunate enough to fight for a world title in Australia, which is sort of, you know, very, very difficult thing to do, especially myself, you know, well, still at the moment, but even more so back then, you know, don't have a huge following in Australia, unfortunately. So for us to pack out a Hisense Arena and be broadcast as the main event on a pay-per-view card just wouldn't have been possible. So we were fortunate enough that Gal and Barry Hall fought, and obviously they drew the crowd and packed out the arena and sold the pay-per-views. So they were billed as the main event. But obviously my fight being for a world title was the main event on the night. And look, yeah, I mean, hopefully I'm in the position in the years to come that I can headline my own shows in Australia, and Australia gets behind me, and we can start to pack out stadiums and headline pay-per-views ourselves down there. But I was, you know, at that moment, I was not in the position to do that. So I was fortunate enough that Gallen and Barry were able to provide that platform for me.
Yeah, and to Paul Gallen's credit, he's always said his intentions was to make a lot of money and build up the cards for the younger fighters. So it really was a plus, wasn't it? Everyone won, so you got the exposure, you got the title. Paul had a good fight. Everyone wins. So what Paul Gallen's doing for Australian boxing is really, really positive, and so he should be certainly commended for it. So.
Yeah, spot on. Gal's done great things for Australian boxing over the last few years and continues to do so. So, good on him.
Yeah, good on him, yeah. Moving back over to the UK, Ebanie Bridges is fighting this weekend on Sunday morning our time against fighter Beck Conley. You've been keeping tabs on that one? I know you said you hadn't really been seeing what's going on, but is there any interest in what's been going on over there? Because she's doing great things for certainly promoting Australian women's boxing, Ebanie. She's got a huge following over in the UK and in the US because she was recently in Philly. Has her name come across your desk as a point of interest?
Yeah, I've seen what she's been doing, definitely, and she's definitely getting, got a lot of fans, especially over in the UK, as you mentioned, and they, seem to really love her over there, and she's obviously fighting over there for the second time in a row now, and on one of, big Eddie Hearn show, so there's going to be a big audience for her, and I believe this is a fight that she should win. So they're obviously looking after her and trying to build her over there, which is great. Great for her and great for women's boxing and especially the women in Australia.
Yeah, absolutely. Because there's another big women's fight. I believe Shannon O'Connell and Shanika Johnson are looking towards the end of the year, which will be another great potential fight. And then if whoever's successful can go after Shannon Courtenay, who is the WBA bantamweight champ, who Shannon O'Connell has expressed interest in. So that would be a fantastic fight for Australian women's boxing. So it's all coming along nicely at the moment, to be perfectly honest with you. So.
Yeah, sure. It was actually a shame. I know Shannon Courtenay's opponent, fell through some weeks ago, and I believe it's really disappointing that Shannon O'Connell didn't get the opportunity or the call up to have that fight because she's, the number one contender. She's got the gold version of the title, and the career she's had, she deserves that opportunity to fight for that belt. And it's a shame that they didn't give it to her, but. Yeah, hopefully she gets through this rematch with Shanika and then can move on to fight for a world title over there in the UK against Courtney on a huge show.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. Fantastic. And just finally, Mark, I don't want to take up too much of your time. We talked about this before, but we heard that two Aussie boys, yourself and your brother, if the money was right, you would get into the ring. Can you explain that? Because I find that absolutely hilarious because the Klitschko brothers flat out said no, the Charlo said no, but a typical Aussie pair of brothers, yep, we'll do it if the money is right. So I think that's absolutely hilarious and good on yous.
Yeah, mate, Danny Green's in our every week about this, so he's going to love it if he hears this. But, I'll be honest with. I don't really want to fight my brother. That's for sure. But we've always sort of left the door open and said if the money was right, then maybe we'd look at it because we've punched on that many times over the years. It's in the backyard for free. So if there's millions of dollars on the line and it's going to look after our families, secure our families' future for many years to come, then. I suppose we couldn't say no to that, and then we'd have a handshake at the end and say well done, all the best, and we'll go home to our mansions after the fight.
Yeah, well, as I said, mate, I got a brother. If someone's offering us a couple of $100,000, we'll get in there and have a good crack. But what would your mother? I mean, my brother's mother would just look at us and go, "Yeah," she'd just shake her head and walk off. But surely your mother wouldn't be very happy about that. Surely not.
No, my whole family would be absolutely spitting about the idea, and Mum would probably try and get the event cancelled somehow. But yeah, look, we're talking. There'd have to be a lot of money on the table, and might be able to sort her out a house as well, and then we can make it go ahead.
Can buy her a house. that is gold because as I said, I'm pretty sure you two are the only two brothers that are even considering. Everyone else just said no, flat out. But typical Aussie fellas. That's what I love about you. That's what I love about Aussies. We're just like, yeah, we'll have a crack, put the money down, we'll have a go. So it's gold. It's gold. Oh, I appreciate your time here, mate. I really appreciate your time. I really hope that you get in there and give Franco another, good defeat. Well, that, for lack of a better word, we'll give him a good defeat because, the belt does belong to you, mate. We all know this. What happened in Vegas? Well, what's that saying? What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So, fortunately, this time you're fighting in Oklahoma. What's the name of the arena? It's in Oklahoma. What's the name of the arena you're fighting at? Because I'm not familiar with Oklahoma arenas at all.
We're fighting in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's at the Hard Rock Casino.
Ah, right. Have you been there previously? Have you had a chance to scope it out?
No, I haven't. As you mentioned earlier on, we were supposed to fight in Oklahoma actually back in April 2020, but that fight got cancelled. So no, never been to Oklahoma. But this is a new casino, I've told, and the first show they're having there, and apparently it's a really nice casino. So looking forward to getting over there and checking it out, and most importantly, coming home with a great win.
Yeah, absolutely, because we look forward to seeing you next. It'll be August 15th here in Australia. We look forward to seeing you, mate, and bringing that title home. And all the best of luck, mate, because we're pretty confident that you'll get over Franco again. And hopefully nothing will go awry this time. And you'll be a two-time WBA super flyweight champion on your way to being undisputed. Andrew Maloney, mate, we appreciate your time here talking to us at Fight View 360. Thank you very much.
Nah, thanks for having me on, mate. Appreciate your support, and hope everyone back in Australia tunes in. It's on Main Event and KO Sports, so tune in and watch me bring home a world title for Australia.
Shout out to Andrew Maloney. Great interview there with the former and soon-to-be two-time champion. Thanks for listening, guys. This has been your old mate Big J for Fight View 360. Please like and subscribe to the video.